What's up, everybody? The world is a better place because you are here to join us. My name is Matt Brown, and I am the host of the Productive Conversations podcast. It is Monday, September 16th, 2024, and this is our week two recap of the NFL season. NFL week two was a very good week as always, and let's talk about what exactly happened and go through every single one of the games on Thursday and Sunday. And before we get into that, I just want to remind you to like and subscribe to the Productive Conversations podcast on all podcasts and platforms and YouTube. And please hit that subscribe button. Please like us and help us grow this great brand and community. We are all growing together, the productive nation, if you will. And also, don't forget to check out our our week three in the college football recap, the productive recap in college football, week three. And week three was very crazy. And I mean, we even switched. We got a new number one school in the nation. A lot of crucial games took place there really early in this season. And also, thank you to Magic Mind as a presenting sponsor. As always, get your subscription to Magic Mind. Take your daily dose of Magic Mind. And I promise you, this world is going to get a lot better for you with their nootropics. You take your shot before your day begins, and your focus is enhanced. You have more mental clarity and a better attitude, and everything is going to improve your life, I promise. So get 48% off your first subscription or 20% off your first one-time purchase by going to magicmind.com/PCMB and use discount code PCMB20 to get that exclusive deal. Thank you to Magic Mind as always. So, yes, week three in the NFL. So happy we've got to this point, and we're going to talk all about it. So, let us begin. Let's talk about what took place in the National Football League. And regarding the Atlanta Falcons and the Eagles, I'll talk about that with our picks on Thursday. Oh, by the way, just want to point out 5-1 on all my picks this week. Complete sweep in college football. And the NFL, we went 2-1. Our two victories are going to be the Jets. The Jets and Titans. First one we're going to talk about, -4. They completed that. We had the Chargers -6 over the Panthers, and they destroyed them. And then the 49ers -5.5. We did not hit that, thanks to the rise of the Vikings offense and what Sam Darnold has provided, and the 49ers defense looking lost out there. But we're going to talk all about that. 5-1 in your picks this week. And let's go for an undefeated sweep on both leagues. Excuse me. Let us again let us go for an undefeated sweep next week. We were very close this week. Let us do an undefeated sweep. We were very close last week. Let's do an undefeated sweep next week. Oh, sorry, this week, I should say. Last week, almost undefeated, 5-1. This week, we will go for the perfect sweep. We'll talk about that on Thursday. But as I mentioned, let's talk about the NFL week two. First, Jets and Titans. The Titans and the Jets go out to Nashville after a very tough loss on a short week. The Jets on the road once again and playing a defense that looks much better than people thought. They gave pressure to Aaron Rodgers the whole game, but Aaron Rodgers showed why he's one of the most talented quarterbacks we will ever see at the position. Looking great out there, was able to get his throws off. Breece Hall was able to get the ball to Breece Hall and Allen, two solid weapons for him at the game. And the Jets pull away with a huge 24-17 victory. And again, the defense looked better than what people expected for the Titans in their rebuilding era. And Will Levis continuing to make young quarterback mistakes, some ugly interceptions and turnovers created by the Jets defense and pressuring him all game led to the downfall against the Jets at home. And then if you're a Jets fan, you got to feel pretty good with especially Aaron Rodgers, 18 for 30, 176 yards and 2 touchdowns. His first win in, I believe, like 630 days. And besides the weapons not doing too much with his star weapons and Garrett Wilson, Alan Lazard had a good game, but Breece Hall and it was the running game that was the big factor going out for the pass, and Rodgers in the pocket looked pretty cool out there. So you have to feel really good if you're a Jets fan going into a big game against New England. It should be winnable for them. You have to be excited if you are a Jets fan. Good win for the Jets. Things were working. Lots to be positive about. Sure, there was moments where you sweat, especially when Tennessee was making a little push, but Will Levis, man, has to make some better decisions out there. I mean, you even see the Titans coach scream, "What the fuck are you doing?" Very questionable decisions these first 2 weeks for Will Levis, but he is still in there. And maybe the Titans at 0-2, but at least the defense looks pretty good. And the Jets, if they lost this game, there would be a lot to complain about. But a win is a win. And now they go home. They have their home opener on Thursday against New England. The Commanders and Giants, man. Commanders win 21-18. I almost wanted to scream when the game started with the Giants giving up a kickoff return for a touchdown that was called back, but we lose Graham Gano in the process. People criticizing the Giants' handling of the injury report and not having a backup kicker, and the man having groin issues in Graham Gano, then pulls the hamstring during the kickoff, tried to catch Austin Eckler. And yeah, that looked really bad at some points. But after we had the ugly start, very first play of the game, the Giants played an all right game, but it just pisses you off. Giants actually played defense, played pretty good on played decent, played pretty good on defense. And the Giants defense didn't give up one touchdown, but giving up 7 field goals, and you are the position you are in, where the Giants now have the distinct record of scoring 3 touchdowns, not scoring 3 touchdowns, not giving up a touchdown on defense, and you still lose the game. Even when Daniel Jones looked pretty decent out there, and Malik Neighbors, despite a crucial drop at the end, closer to the end of the fourth quarter, which could have kept them in a game. He looked awesome. He looked like the star receiver we are expecting him to be. And when you go 127 yards in the air with 10 receptions and a touchdown, you are pretty hyped. And Neighbors is on one of my fantasy teams, so of course I was happy there. And even the run game was pretty good, and Singletary was solid for the defense, but Jada Daniels kept getting oh man, not Redskins, the Commanders offense down in field goal range. And this kicker, Austin Siebert, just kept scoring. And you would have got 21 points from a kicker whoever had him on fantasy. And the Giants lose. Starting 0-2 once again. What is new? Starting 0-2 in 6 of the last 8 seasons. And it's just not promising. What do you want me to do as a Giants fan? You want me to beg and please and scream and be angry? I mean, it's too early for that. And though it is what it is. We are a rebuilding franchise who doesn't know their identity in the quarterback position. They're excited to at least have a good defense. And, we'll just go through the motions. Not making the playoffs. Let's hope we can at least hit our over under number with the 6.5. At least go over that. And yeah, let's just hope these games are competitive. What can I tell you? The Giants are just being the Giants, and they play decently, but not decently enough. Yeah, you wish we had our kicker, and the punter could had his one field goal attempt, and it goes wide right, and yeah, embarrassing, absolutely embarrassing. And I heard that, and we just could not get in the field goal range, at least to get a chip shot for our punter to score a field goal, and that's where we're at. Ugly stuff, but Jaden Daniels gets his first win as a starter. But what could I say? Winnable games that the Giants couldn't pull off, couldn't even go 1-1, and probably on our way to a top 5 pick again. Only this time, hopefully, Cam Ward will be available at the quarterback position, and we grab him and we start a revolution there. That is my early pick for the Giants' new quarterback in 2025. But again, Daniel Jones looked decent out there, even threw a couple touchdowns and 178 yards, but couldn't do more. Game was too close. Commanders commit the pull off the 1.5 point spread, and yeah, what else is new? 0-2 Giants. Blah 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 blah. Let's move on. Chiefs of the Bengals, right? Of course, prime time. Chiefs beat the Bengals once again. What is new? In the Chiefs, everything's working with them. But the big thing to get out of this game, despite Jamar Chase not making the big game we expected him to be, despite Joe Burrow doing his best to keep his team into it, and the Chiefs offensively played only okay. The Chiefs given up 2 turnovers and only real facilitating Ray Rice in the game, but Pacheco looked good out there, but he might have a serious injury going out in crutches. Well, we can talk about 2 penalties. One, the Jamar Chase, even though people could argue that was a call, but a fair call, but the face mask there didn't get that. Move forward. And then the big one, the egregious one, even though was a fair call, I'll give you that. In the pass interference play towards the end, bringing wound up being a 50-yard penalty, even though the call was very late. And the Chiefs go down a field goal range. Harrison Butker gets the walk-off field goal, and the Chiefs win 26-25. But the thing is the Chiefs always getting the benefit of the doubt from the referees, even if the calls are fair. We could talk about the likely play last week in the Ravens, and then with this pass interference call. It's just the fact of the matter is that you will continue to have people complain about the refs' tomfoolery on the field when they every single time give this franchise bail this franchise out. We talk about let him play, and you could just argue every single play in the NFL you could have a penalty, even on holding calls. It seems to happen all the time. And we saw a holding call in the game that one of the offensive linemen did one of the offensive line for the Chiefs committed during that pass interference call, which would have offsetted the penalties, and they wouldn't have gotten that yardage. And they would have punted the ball, and there's a better chance that Cincinnati pulls off this victory. But once again, the Chiefs get the benefit of the doubt, and we will have another week of conspiracy theorists and people complaining that this is a league that will always support the Chiefs as long as Mahomes is around, as long as Kelsey's still playing, as long as they could get viewers and show off Taylor Swift, and we will continue the cycle on and on and on again. Seriously. Always a nail biter. Chiefs never cover it. And undisciplined football leads to the Chiefs running away with a victory. Yada, yada, yada. What else is new? We'll see again when they do it on primetime, probably next week, with Tom Brady on the call as they're playing. Let me just see who they playing again. The Falcons. Oh shoot! Now they probably will pull off the victory against the Falcons on Sunday night. It's week 4 that I'm thinking where they will have Tom Brady in the Wait, why was I thinking? Man. All right, my apologies, but they're back on primetime again. They're primetime almost all the time, and we'll see another nail biter where the referees will assist them, as per usual. All right, let's move on. Got enough Chiefs stuff to talk about every single week. But that's what happens when you're on the top dog. Ball don't lie, and we've seen through plenty of franchise of dynasty teams who pull off these victories. They just, no matter the sport, they always get the call. As the great Ric Flair said, as my father says, if you want to be the man, you gotta beat the man. You can't have the Chiefs only be behind by a touchdown or field goal. They'll somehow pull it off. You got to run away with a victory to defeat them, like the Buccaneers did in the Super Bowl with Tom Brady in 21. They ran away with the victory, and it wasn't close. That's how you beat this team. Can't let the Chiefs get close. They will beat you. Yada yada. Okay, let's continue on. Texans and the Bears. Texans and the Bears on Sunday night was a heck of a game to watch. It was 19-13, the Houston Texans, though maybe the Bears play made it a little closer than you'd think. But CJ Stroud showing why he's still one of the best players, best quarterbacks in the league, even in only his sophomore year. 260 yards in the air. Facilitated Nico Collins with 135 yards in total and 8 receptions. Stephon Diggs stayed fine. Tank Dell didn't do much. But the big key here is not only the Texans running away with this, and also we hope that Joe Mixon can return with a ugly missed call on a hip drop tackle. There needs to be some explaining there. But besides that, you also have the Bears with a god awful offensive line, and Caleb Williams once again not having a touchdown in his first is not once again playing a game where he doesn't get a touchdown. Still hasn't had his first throwing touchdown in the NFL, and knowing a couple turnovers and only 174 yards in the air, but he was pressured the entire game, running for his life, and I'm sure people want a piece of the first overall pick. But that was tough out there to watch if you're a Bears fan. You almost feel bad for the guy. But that was a big factor. And especially in the second half where Caleb was running for his life, you still have the jury out on him as the Bears take a tough loss on the road against Houston. But Houston looking good offensively and defensively. We'll see where this continues to roll. But yep, I wouldn't say Caleb is a bust yet. We still have to wait there. But if there was some protection, and if Keenan Allen was playing, and if Roma Duze wasn't banged up like he was, I'm sure they would help his stock a lot. We'll see what the Bears can do in the coming weeks. So, Bills and Dolphins on Thursday night. Obviously, the big talk is Tua's health. The Bills ran away with a 31-10 victory. The Dolphins had nothing. The Bills had everything. But in an ironic play where we have Tua rushing and Damar Hamlin, glad he's playing. But out of all the people, Damar Hamlin, who had the most concerning injury for the nation to worry about. And then we see Tua's head snap back, gets another concussion. And then for the next 24 hours, everybody talking about Tua needing to retire. And he said he doesn't have any plans to retire. Got to respect that decision, and still has a $220 million contract and guaranteed money waiting for him. And this is only year 1 in the contract. And yeah, you hope and you get nervous seeing Tua out there with the neurologic issues with his arm collapsing. We are aware of his finger issues 2 seasons ago. Hey, the man survived all season long and got paid, and at some point was an MVP candidate. But yeah, nasty injury, and you know how we like to react to everything, and we know how emotional the football fan is. Everybody asking for Tua to retire, but he said he's not retiring. Still got to respect that. I'm sure the Dolphins need a better option out there than Skylar Thompson. Ryan Tannehill's still available, but it looks like they are going to stick with Skylar. Who played fine. Who's shown moments here and there, but yeah, you hope to can figure this out. Hopefully he could put on the cap. Maybe it's time for him to put on that cap for protection on his helmet. And I just hope to can continue to roam and be okay. But besides that, Bill's looking awesome. Not looking like they don't skip a beat, even with some of Josh Allen's favorite targets going to other teams. Gabe Davis, Jacksonville, Stephon Diggs in Houston. But he's making news. He's making new stars of who he has. Like the big game from like James Cook, who's been vastly improving at the running back position. Khalil Shakir having an awesome game, having a better game. And then, Josh Allen just using his legs, and Keon Coleman didn't do much in week 2, but he can also have great potential at the receiver position. But Bills 2-0 to start their season. You got to be happy there. The Cardinals and Rams. Oh, the Rams losing Cooper Kupp. Puka's going to be out. Kieran Williams might have lingering health issues. Yeah, you're nervous if you're a Rams fan. Then you go up against the Cardinals, who people don't have much expectations for, and they score 41 points on you. With Marvin Harrison having his first breakout game, 2 touchdowns, over 90 yards in the first quarter alone. And then let us confirm one more time. His final line, 2 touchdowns, 130 yards. And yeah, Cardinals with a huge home opener to give some promise there. Kyler Murray looking like the number 1 overall pick they expected him to be. Only missed 4 throws, 70 for 21, 266 yards with 3 touchdowns. The running game was awesome. They were protecting Arizona. Arizona has a really good line. Look at there. Giants casualty and Will Hernandez part of that. And got to be nervous if you're a Rams fan. We did see Blake Corum get some touches. The breakout Michigan running back, part the reason why they won the national championship. Only 8 carries for 28 yards, and the Cardinals with arguably the most underrated tight end in the league, too. And now you got Marvin Harrison Jr. and that James Conner still rushing yards. Watch out for what Arizona could do. They were able to score points against the Bills. If things went a different way, maybe the Cardinals win the season opener. But if anything I got out of the Cardinals and the Rams is that the Cardinals are here to play. And the Rams have a lot of figuring out to do. And we'll go to the Raiders and Ravens, right? Ravens looked pretty smooth in their home opener. No emotional crowd out there honoring the late great Jacoby Jones. The Raiders, who people don't know what they have left with it. They don't know what they have there. And while at the half, Baltimore was up 9-6, and at one point it was 6-16. Still scoring points, yet thanks to Gardner Minshew's Gardner Minshew's 3 fourth quarter scoring drives, they ultimately led to a victory. Derrick Henry was not making big moves during the first half, trying to make it up all in the second half. And the Raiders kept up with them with Gardner Minshew out there. Brock Bowers having a little bit of a breakout game himself. Devontae Adams obviously will always be a contributing factor. And here we are. Antonio Pierce leading the Raiders to a huge win on the road. The Ravens start out 0-2. And as Lamar Jackson says, we still need to find our mojo out there. I'm sure the Ravens will be fine. Obviously playing the reigning world champions of the Chiefs. That you're not surprised they lost this game. You're a little surprised that they lose against the Raiders, and they don't have a lot of time to make up. And it seems like at some point the Raiders defense was just straight up tired out there. Ravens should have one of the better defenses, if not a top 5 defense in the league, and they weren't able to stop Gardner Minshew in the fourth quarter. Tough break for Baltimore there. Good stuff for the Raiders. And we have the Steelers and Broncos, right? Justin Fields goes in again for a injured Russell Wilson. Still haven't seen him play yet. And Justin Fields not doing a ton, but just enough to have them defeat a Broncos team who's still trying to figure themselves out. Bo Nix not looking so hot right there. Reckon it's still only week 3, but throwing a couple interceptions, including one in the red zone while you're in the red zone, makes you not feel so good. And again, the Steelers defense will always be a top defense in this league, led by the great TJ Watt. And for a team starting to still figure them out in the Broncos, we have the Steelers starting out 2-0 with great Mike Tomlin showing why he's one of our great coaches we will ever see. Justin Fields. Justin Fields, too. Hey, down the line, this guy is going to be the full-time starter. And I'm sure Russell Wilson wants to get in there as soon as he can because we can see the potential this guy can have. And with a better line and still having the great legs he has and can throw, just if they want him to throw deeper, but can throw at least accurately, the Steelers are in a good place. The Broncos are still rebuilding. Browns and Jaguars, like the Browns looked actually pretty competent out there. Deshaun Watson played a better game. And Trevor Lawrence, man, is Trevor Lawrence? I won't say it's hard to say he's a bust because he did lead the Jaguars to a Super Bowl. Sorry, Super Bowl. He led the Jaguars to the playoffs, won a playoff game, but yet I don't know. In the past couple of years, he's had a hard time trying to stay on the field, and now people have legit concerns. Didn't throw a touchdown this week. Was having trouble hitting his receivers. Under pressure a lot. Obviously, the Browns is one of the best defenses in the league. And then you have Deshaun Watson, though he didn't throw a touchdown either. Was able to at least run in for one. Was able to get the ball to Cooper Judy. Jerome Ford is a great running back, as we know. It's a very good running back, as we know. And yeah, there's the Jaguars' problems on offense, and the Browns is one of the best defenses out there taking advantage of the Jaguars' issues. It led to what happened, and they have a tough loss at home against a solid team. Trevor Lawrence, we have to really think now. What is this guy? Trevor Lawrence did get paid, but is he worth all this money if he has similar stats to Daniel Jones? Despite maybe more success, Trevor Lawrence got to play better is the big thing we have to get there. Then we have the 49ers and the Vikings, right? I'm somewhat baffled. Maybe the Vikings are actually pretty good this year. They keep losing important pieces. Hawkinson's out, Addison's out. And yet JJ McCarthy's is lost this whole season. Yet Sam Darnold with Kevin O'Connell, the quarterback whisperer, the great coach, maybe an underrated coach. Sam Darnold's looking like he's finally being the quarterback we expected him out of USC. The reason why he was the third overall pick and why bad coaching, whether obviously in the Jets, Carolina, not so hot either, but the man backs up Brock Purdy in San Francisco. Then he gets his shot in the Vikings. Obviously, we expected him to take advantage of the Giants defense. But now he goes up against one of the best defenses in the NFC, and all he does is score 268. All he does is score a couple touchdowns, 268 yards in the air. And the Viking and the 49ers just had no answers, just outplayed. And despite getting their opportunities, they couldn't close. And we had Brock Purdy have a crucial interception in the red zone that cost them. And just the Vikings just scoring so much. And the Vikings didn't have a lot of time on possession either. One thing we've noticed so far in these first two games is the 49ers know how to stay on the field, and that is one underrated aspect of the National Football League is actually staying on the field. Can't win if you can't score and if you don't have even an opportunity to. Yet the Vikings got the points that they needed, able to create separation against a really good defense, and this is a huge win for Minnesota, and the 49ers already having a tough loss on here, despite some injuries to concern about, but not much of an excuse. The Vikings just outplayed the 49ers. And you got to give a lot of credit to Sam Darnold and that Vikings defense. Great upset, huge win at home. I was clearly wrong in my pick there, but I have no problem with it because that was just a fun game to watch. Solid game against two classic NFL franchises, and I hope Sam Darnold keeps playing like this and rightfully wins the comeback player of the year. and proves that coaching really is everything in this league, because Sam Darnold was expected to play like this coming out of USC. Goes to the Jets with Adam Gase, and we know the I've seen Ghost situation he dealt with, hopping from team to team, and gets his opportunity, and look at what he's provided. Good stuff, Mr. Darnold. Then the Chargers and Panthers, right? Panthers, obviously the worst team in the league. They're at home playing against a Chargers team where Justin Herbert just throwing touchdown after touchdown to Quentin Johnson. The running game, again, looking lethal out there with J.K. Dobbins, 131 yards on the ground with 17 carries. And then Bryce Young, only 84 yards through turnovers, just missing receivers, getting sacked. And it just came out right before this recording that Bryce Young is benched and Andy Dalton's coming in. And I think it's fair to say that Bryce Young is a bust. And maybe people clearly misread him. And then the big mistake of drafting him over CJ Stroud will haunt this franchise for a long time. We've seen the Panthers franchise have some moments here and there, but misery in Carolina while they're trying to get a new stadium. Absolute misery. And as for the Chargers, where their over-under numbers was higher than I thought, it's starting to make sense with Jim Harbaugh. They're getting the offense line's really good. People didn't know much of the receivers and now making names of themselves. And Justin Herbert hopefully turns into the quarterback they expect him to be. Seahawks and the Patriots. I really wanted to see the Patriots pull this off. And you got to give them credit. They played them tough. The defense was looking good. Rushing game was looking good there. And they almost defeated the Seahawks in a Super Bowl rematch. Tough, gritty game, but that only resulted in the Seahawks winning by 23-20. Patriots covered, and it took them all the way to overtime. But the Seahawks and the Patriots, just a gritty game that kept them close. And the Patriots, who knows? Maybe they could be a surprise team as well. They look like they're getting real good support from Gerard Mayo and the new era that's beginning in New England. A lot of respect for the Patriots and them keeping them close against Seattle. And the Bucks and Lions. And how about Baker and the Bucks, right? Get a big win against the Commanders on the road last week. I mean, they go against the Lions this week in a playoff rematch, and Baker Mayfield, no matter what, this man, I give him a lot of credit. This man is doubted, and he keeps playing well out there. Uses his legs, uses that great arm of his, uses the great football IQ within his head, and they defeat obviously a stellar Lions team. 20-16, 7.5 points was your spread that they easily took advantage of, and they covered that. And Godwin and Evans, whether they're playing with Tom Brady or they're playing with Baker Mayfield, they're still producing. And though the Vikings had plenty of opportunities, the Lions had plenty of opportunities, and the Lions defense was definitely giving a run for their money, including Aiden Hutchinson with 5 sacks. But besides that, you got to give the Bucks defense preventing big moments from the Lions and not preventing them to not score when they were in the red zone and only kicking field goals. And on paper, you'd be surprised how could the Lions lose this. They looked awesome offensively, but the Bucks looked a little better, and the Bucks made the plays when they needed to. Whether it was their secondary preventing huge catches for important catches deep in the game, not creating a lot of separation between them and the stellar weapons that the Lions have. And again, just Baker Mayfield keeping this team in there, and we know why we had the result we have. Buccaneers win 20-16, and people should not be surprised about that. Good win for Tampa. And for the Colts and the Packers, right? It's a game that I almost picked but didn't. Good thing that I did not pick this. But the Packers on the road, even with their nausea issues, if you saw what happened. Center threw up in the middle of the game, but Malik Willis actually strived, and it was the Packers defense which was the reason why that they were able to get this victory over the Colts. And Josh Jacobs switching teams and being the stellar runner he was expected to be, having a really great game, 151 total yards on 32 carries. And Malik Willis didn't throw much, but when he was in the pocket, only missed 2 passes, gets the touchdown. And then just Anthony Richardson playing recklessly, as I've talked about, is one of his Achilles heel. 3 turnovers in the game, missing receivers when he wasn't supposed to. And Indianapolis just didn't have any answers. They made a push towards the end of the game once again, but it was a little too late. And Malik Willis and the Packers defense is the reason why they get this big 16-10 victory. They cover their 2.5. Therefore, there's people who are really happy in Green Bay, and we will see as we wait for Jordan Love to come back if it's going to be based on the defense and the running game. And I think that'll be a big factor moving forward and something to pay attention to as the season goes on. And then for the Saints and Cowboys to end the game, it always seems again, like we talked about LSU in our college game, always losing an early season game that they really shouldn't. And the Cowboys at home in their home opener, somehow giving up 44 points against against the New Orleans Saints, with Kamara scoring 4 touchdowns, Derek Carr looking like the quarterback we expected him to be throughout his career. And then with their weapons, maybe Shaheed and Olave is actually a pretty good receiving combo. And Dak having a hard time throughout the game, having turnovers. No rushing game whatsoever for Dallas. And then the Saints starting off 2-0 themselves in a great game. And again, I won't put too much into this early season loss, but the things to take out of is the fact New Orleans might be better than we think, especially offensively, and they were able to only prevent, and the defense with the vet led by the vet Cam Jordan out there, maybe they're better than we expect in offensive defensively, scoring 44 points in total this week against Dallas and only preventing them to 19 points. And the only person who had a solid game out there was CeeDee Lamb, and everybody else, and he only had 4 receptions, but everybody else just was not playing to their potential. And Dak, for every time he can't perform, people will always refer to his contract in a game like this past Sunday. And it'll only continue, but maybe New Orleans is better than we think. That's all I can get out of that. And Dallas always has an early season game that people are baffled by. And I expect them to play better as the season goes on. And we will pay attention to what New Orleans does. But that'll complete the productive NFL recap for this week. That is week 2 in the NFL season. And we thank you for sticking with us. Again, our NFL picks this week, we went 2-1. We missed out on 49ers -5.5, but we hit Jets -4 and the Chargers -6. So we'll continue that next week. Check out our picks for football and college and NFL on Thursday. Check out the tweet cap tomorrow and check out the tweet cap on Friday as well. And just continue to have a good week. I see the leaves are changing up in the Northeast, so we are in a good place in the year. But my name is Matt Brown. I am the host of the Productive Conversations podcast, and I'll be seeing you all throughout the week. Love you. Peace.